On the 8th of August, 2019, the 5th anniversary of the Five Nights at Freddy's games, Scott Cawthon updated his website to reveal a teaser for what was at the time known as the 2020 FNAF game. About 2.5 years later, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach came out. How was it? Man, oh man, I have had an absolute blast. I've had a joy ride over the past couple months, technically. The game was interesting to play. Let's just say that. Going into the game, I was so excited. I was in a Discord call with my friends at around 12, I think, because like time zone was coming out for 12 for me, and I was just like refreshing my email to see if I get an email saying it's been released. I just refreshing Steam to see if it was released then. About an hour later, which kind of sucked, I finally got an email saying one of your items on your wish list has been released. And I'm like, oh my god. So I just instantly head to the store page, I buy it, I start downloading it, hit with a 50 GB update, and I'm like, right. I was not surprised if I wouldn't be able to play it that day, which would have made me so disappointed. But as for avoiding spoilers, I did that incredibly well. Basically, the entirety of the game was just brand new to me. Like I had basically no idea of anything going in. I'm pretty proud of what I did. Trying to avoid, and I also want to thank like everyone uploading videos, so like liking their titles and their thumbnails, kind of not clickbaity or not clickbait, not giving away spoilers, but playing the game was really fun. Just generally going through a playthrough, the only problem really found was the whole DJ Music Man part. The rest was great. Like, obviously, I copped my fair share of bugs, glitches, really weird teleportation of the animatronics that made it feel unfair. But, like, the game was difficult in a really good way. Overall, the game was amazing. It was incredible. It brought so many new fans into the FNAF fandom, like I said before, and it really showed that Steel would be the perfect company to take over Scott, as he is sadly retired and he's going to pass the FNAF torch onto onto another developer. And I think so many fans would be so happy, and Steel would be honored to be the receiver of that torch of that game series. But I loved it. The difficulty, like I said before, was really good. And although many people complain that you couldn't save after 6 a.m., I think it was an incredible way to ramp up the difficulty. It was an amazing way to just really bump it up and say, alrighty, this is gonna split the people who are playing it for fun to the hardcore gamers and the true FNAF fans. So I think it was actually, honestly, a really well done thing on Stable. If they wanted to make it a bit easier, I could say like after beating Chica's thing, you'll now permanently have the voice box. Not sure if it will save, because then you can just do everything you need to do and then save and then beat that and get a save there. But just once you've beaten Chica's, like the phase blast area, you just constantly have the voice box. If they want to make it easier, I can think of that being it. But I think after that point, I think it might just become a bit too easy, because it's got to be. I reckon it's got to be a challenge. It's got to be a really big challenge. So it really shows who wants to 100% this game, and who's just playing it. Yes, there were bugs and glitches. There were plenty of them, and this is brought up in every single review. But it needs to be said. I had my fair share of frustrations, like before. Like I was saying whilst playing the game. And because of all that, I 100% would have rather Steel delay the game for another 6 to 12 months than to have had the product that we got today. But in the end, they didn't. And so we have to live with it. But the fact that they have publicly addressed all the bugs and glitches and have confirmed that they will be fixing everything over the course of the next year or so is a really good thing. And plus, the game is there. Like the game isn't changing, so I'm very happy they delayed it to make a bigger game. And in the end, the bugs and glitches can be fixed through updates and small minor tweaks and stuff to make the game better can be implemented. But like just adding massive heaps of content to the game is difficult. So I'm glad I delayed it for that at least. But the thing is, as long as Steel doesn't take too long, as long as we're not like 2 years down the track and Steel like still rolling out updates to like slowly bring out bug fixes and stuff, as long as it's not taking too long, around by the end of the year, or at least in 6 months in, we can already see a big improvement within the game. And as long as I don't formally announce, and I'm stressing this so much, Steel, as long as you don't formally announce any DLC coming before you do some major fixes to a game, people will be mad. Take FNAF AR. FNAF AR is literally the everything and anything you can do wrong with a game to make fans hate it. Illumix, sorry, not sorry. I really dislike FNAF AR now. I don't enjoy it. But as long as you don't formally announce, I'm saying formally, like within the fixes, as long as you like, if you say like, yeah, we've decided that we are going to make DLC that is happening, that's fine, that's fair. The lore. The lore was definitely a bit lackluster in this game compared to other FNAF games, and the fact that this one was so much bigger than all the rest was slightly annoying. But then again, it is this new story that Steelwall is telling, and I think that we need to wait a bit for some future games or updates and hear them out. There is still plenty of story to reflect on both the past of FNAF and making a way to continue the story. FNAF Hot Wanted felt like a bridging game lore-wise. That worked because it was kind of connecting the end of the series to this brand new era of FNAF made by with VR games and AR games and massive, almost AAA like games made by many different companies and stuff. It was a new era of FNAF. So FNAF VR was that kind of bridging game to finish that off, continue the story, and add reasoning to why that story is continuing. And that did that perfectly. I felt Security Breach took a similar stance. It almost felt like it was just bridging over from Ultimate Custom Night and FNAF What Wanted. It didn't continue the story, it was just kind of like a bridging over, like, okay, connecting this. Like, I don't know how well to explain it, but that didn't work as well, considering that we don't have another FNAF game probably coming out for a while. What there definitely needed to be more of was explanation. There needed to be a bit more clarity to who Gregory was, and how he got into the Pizzaplex and in Freddy's stomach, and how the beginning of the game kind of sets off. Why is he in, is why isn't he in any of the databases of the Pizzaplex or that? And where are his parents? Like there are theories, but this is kind of like the foundation of the story of the game, not the lore of the series, but just the general story of the game, which should be pretty easy to pick up. And I also felt like, much like, continuing forward of the game was kind of hard to find, the explanation to why many things were happening also was hard to find. Yeah, there definitely need to be a little bit more of explanation of the story of the game. Steel probably bit off a little more than they could chew for this game, in my opinion. I'm glad it's so big and they added more, but I felt like they probably could have made the game a bit smaller and then worked on a bit more like fixing the bugs, making the story a bit clearer and stuff like that. And also, there were aspects of the game that were underused, which was completely underused. There was plenty of scrapped content, which fair enough. All games have scrapped content. Some content felt like it shouldn't have been cut or wasn't actually cut properly. There are parts of the game, aspects and segments of dialogue that felt like it built up to something scrapped. Especially what we're going to dive into later today. I think there's a lot of potential with DLC, and I really hope we get some really cool stuff probably next year or the year after, even. Even with all these problems, Steelwall did an excellent job. I mean, we're still here, aren't we? We're still coming back, aren't we? That is a win. That is a win in my books. The Pizzaplex was amazing. The location was incredible, and the way it was built and all the textures looked amazing. And although, yeah, it could be hard to find the right way to progress, which, like I said, could be fixed in future updates with having Freddy actually mark the map like he says he does. It was really fun to traverse and explore the place, and it was incredible seeing free roam in such an amazing location. I'm happy that you could basically have a savable complete free roam of the place at about 5:40 a.m. I'm very happy that you could still save yet roam at 5:40, because that means like the whole presents and bags and stuff you could still do at like 5:40, which was really nice. There were many elements to the game that were incredible. The quality of the visuals, the models, and the gameplay was quite varied, and I really liked that. The characterization of all the characters was incredible, and that all really melded together to create an amazing game. I just really hope that the product that we have this time next year is much less glitchy, easy to follow, less confusing, and just overall is a much better game. Overall, I would give the game a solid 7.5. That is my score. Really, it is. It's not my favorite FNAF game, not by a long shot, but it was incredible to see the game evolve into what Security Breach is. I really, really did enjoy it. I just really hope that by about next year, when we start seeing some DLC maybe confirmed, or we start seeing the game in a much more polished and finished state that's much more easy and fun to play, that I can hopefully bump that number up to a 9. So, just here, well, good luck in fixing the game, making DLC hopefully, and continuing to be involved in Scott's world of Five Nights at Freddy's. There is still one more mystery that players are yet to crack. One of the achievements was the baby maintenance log out of order. In the daycare theater, there is a poster for some Foxy Pirate movie. If you take the Fazcam and go all around the Pizzaplex snapping photos of the cardboard cutouts of the characters on the poster, you will be able to actually open the poster, and it leads to a secret room, which it appears that maybe Sundrop is living in, because that's where he comes out of at the beginning of the game. And in there is a BB World Arcade. And it's pretty normal, you play and get the achievement, but there is a glitch. And if you enter that glitch, then you get transported to like another kind of world, and there's like a glitched path you must follow, and you need to stay in that path. Extended amount of time out of the path, you're sent back to the real world. So what you have to do, get into the glitch, stay in the glitch path until you get to the ending. You'll know the path will end, you'll be teleported to the middle of the screen. The massive sun moon thing, which people have nicknamed Eclipse, will fill the screen and say good night. And that's it. It'll kick you out of the game. No achievement, no nothing. That's it. It's interesting because of a few things. When collecting the messages for the Princess Quest, there are many messages about someone talking about finding the first game, finding the second game, they aren't turning on, he's got to play them in order, the third one won't turn on, and he slowly goes insane. There are also another set of messages talking about 3 arcades: the BB World Arcade, the Monty AR Golf Arcade, and Chica's Feeding Frenzy, each having glitches. Obviously, the BB World one we found that we can play it, and there are glitches. The Monty Golf Arcade, we found we can play. Playing that gives you an achievement, or doing something gives you an achievement. But there are no visible glitches or ways to go out of bounds. People have found that if you enter the arcade and you press D, you can enter the debug menu, but that's not a glitch. People have looked at it, it's not a glitch, just simply the debug menu for that arcade. And as for Chica's Feeding Frenzy, people have found that arcade. That arcade has been found, and so has the game in Security Breach's game files. People have found the game and played it within the files. But in the actual game, no one. No one at all has found a way to turn on and play Chica's Feeding Frenzy. So we've got a BB World Arcade, which can turn on and can be played and can be glitched. We've got a Monty Golf Arcade, which can be turned on, can be played, but can't be glitched. And an arcade, which cannot be played. Plus, during the after ending, there are a bunch of generators that need to be turned on. It's likely that these are all just for the recharge station. But there is a BB arcade in that ending, in the area where you face off Burnt Chap, whatever, William Afton. So, what is going on? Here are some theories. Number 1. This was all part of a bigger storyline or something much bigger that was ultimately scrapped. Or like I was saying earlier, this was partly scrapped. They kept the Monty Golf game and the messages. They kept the Monty Golf game because it was a fun game. That was a way to implement an achievement. They kept the BB game and all the messages, so there's something to hold on to. And they kept the Chica's Feeding Frenzy arcade because it was an arcade. They needed to keep that. Well, they could have kept that. And the BB World arcade is something to throw us off in the Afton ending. I don't know. Number 2, this will lead somewhere. In updates of the game, as they update the game and go along, things will start unlocking. Another update will unlock a glitch in Monty's arcade. You can go through, and then you can play Chica's Feeding Frenzy. As updates go along, there might be more and more something added to this. That's possible. Or, in a similar fashion, this will come to light in a DLC. A DLC will come, you buy it, you pay for it, and then this mission or whatever will then be completable. I don't really like this idea because, not everyone's going to buy a DLC for this game, and something that starts in the regular game and you have to pay for it to continue isn't the best move, but that's a theory. Number 3, perhaps it has something to do with another game. If you know, I talked about in one of my replaying videos, in Ultimate Customer, if you do the Old Man Consequence on one difficulty and only him, and you press C when he's on, he'll drop you down to where you find Old Man Consequence in FNAF World. And if you don't already have the Old Man Consequence achievement in FNAF World, doing that at Easter egg in Ultimate Custom Night will give it to you in FNAF World. That would be really interesting. That would be really interesting to see and look at. So, it might be from Help Wanted. Here are 2 reasons. Number 1, there are a lot of Help Wanted Easter eggs in this game. Probably to just confirm that this is a continuation on from Help Wanted, and that because that was the first game that still made a FNAF, and this is the second, stuff like that. But in Rockstar Row, there is a FNAF 1 stage with a Help Wanted looking button in front of it. This mimics and looks exactly like the Showtime button in FNAF VR that currently has no purpose, and Scott has left in there in case one day it does. What would be really cool if these arcades and that button intertwine. The stuff to do in both games that in the end finally unlock what the Showtime button does. Whether it just be a Showtime or whether it be something really, really interesting. That last one is something I really hope happens. Unlikely. It's like the first one. It was part of something big. It wasn't scrapped or will appear over updates. But that would be so cool if it was all tied into FNAF VR and Security Breach. If those games were intertwining, dude. How cool would that be? How cool would that be? You do something in Security Breach and then something pops up in FNAF VR that you have to do, vice versa. Keep going. How cool would that be? You finally unlock the Showtime in FNAF VR and see if there's something more with the FNAF 1 stage in Rockstar Row. My initial thought was because Rockstar Row is a memorabilia area. It's got the Music Man Wine Up doll, it's got a lot of FNAF 4 plushies, it's got a lot of stuff from previous games, and the FNAF 1 stage could have just been the biggest homage. But the fact that there's a Help Wanted button in front of it changes my thoughts. So, there's something there. There is something there. And I went back and I beat that arcade. I know in one of my videos or streams, I think I went and did the arcade and I can be bothered to beat it, but I had to. This is the final thing. So I went back and I just did it. I just did it, because I thought, do you know what? This is the last thing. If I don't do it, my brain's just going to keep gnawing at me. Just do it, do it, do it. So I just did it. Here's my reaction here. Yes! Yeah! Hey, let's go! Ooh, Eclipse, as people have nicknamed this character. Good night, good night. Haha. Hey! Hey! You enjoy that? Cool. There was so much to cover in this video. There was so much to talk about. And it was a lot of fun talking about this with you and the mysteries. I really hope that this BB Arcade thing comes to light soon, or something happens. I would be disappointed if this is it. They just leave it. Because even now, the Showtime button still has a bit of mystery behind it, and I'd hate for this just to be something that has mystery behind it forever and ever. This will be my final security breach video. I want to thank everyone who subscribed, commented, liked, or even just watched my content. This channel started as a small hobby to just deepen my editing skills and practice public speaking in a way, I guess. But over the last month or so, FNAF has just grown my channel so much bigger than I ever expected. And no, this isn't going to become a FNAF channel. I'm just letting you know that now. But there will be more FNAF content in the future, hopefully. So I just want to thank everyone who did anything to help my channel just grow even the slightest bit. But sadly, I'm going to be taking a break from YouTube and then returning to uploading whenever I want to. This series has been massive. I was just editing or recording basically almost every day, and it was something I didn't expect when going with this channel, and it was a lot of fun. It was a fun challenge, something I wanted to do, and I'm very glad I stuck with it. I had a big series in mind that I wanted to do and I wanted to work on that I hinted at the end of my Harry Potter series, which turned out to be Let's Talk with the Queen one. But I just couldn't continue that series, continue making it because of stuff I was doing. I just didn't have the time to continue it. And then FNAF. So I want to take a break, recharge my batteries, and then get back to Let's Talk because I have a lot of episodes actually recorded but not edited. So it'll be kind of weird to upload those because I recorded the first one ages ago, but just haven't edited because I didn't have time. And then the FNAF series came up. So expect those to come out hopefully soon-ish. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for everything you've done, for watching my content, for supporting FNAF. And this is kind of like a goodbye to Security Breach because it's basically just enveloped my life for a while. And it's kind of scary and sad finishing a game or a movie or a long TV show and detaching from it because it's done. But I'm glad. Time to move on to something else. Thanks again for everything and for watching. Goodbye.